10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
Good night, drag racing fan. It is the Competition Plus Power Hour. Once again, Tuesday night. We're glad to have you watching along. As you start watching along, hit that like button, hit that share button, and make sure you subscribe to the channel. I'll be yakking it up with you all in the comment section. I'm Lee Craft, the Monday Morning Racer, along with my co-host Slammin' Sam. And we're going to attempt Whit Bazemore again, Sam. So looking forward to that conversation. But before Whit comes on, we got the GOAT, the undisputed GOAT. He might not like GOAT, but he is the GOAT. So tonight, John Force and Whit Bazemore.
Will John be bringing our peak performance and our peak moment of the Tonight Show?
He is the peak moment anytime he comes on the show. Certainly, we got to play that commercial before he comes on. He might get a kick out of that.
Yeah, I definitely think he will. But, Lee, I mean, what a week in drag racing. Things to talk about, things to discuss. I mean, Tim Wilkerson and their crew, announcing another sponsorship here today.
Finally.
So, I mean, big news there, rapidly approaching, testing sessions and everyone going out and getting back in the cars and getting everything figured out here, rapidly approaching the World Series of Pro Mod, racing down in Bradenton.
Now, I know the World Series of Pro Mod is going to be a big deal, and I'm glad it's happening, but let's not overlook this weekend the U.S. Street Nationals at Bradenton.
It's not this, but Lee, it's not going to be the same. Like the U.S. Street Nationals without Stevie Fast Jackson is just not the same.
Well, I don't know about that, but it also was disappointing to hear that Lyle will not be remaining entered and participating in the U.S. Street Nationals. But that doesn't mean that there's not heavy hitters in Pro Mod World down there ready to take
for sure.
There
is
Melanie Salemi, Jim Halsey, plenty of other big names. I would dare say even bigger names in that 8th Mile outlaw type world. Certainly Stevie comes from that, and certainly Lyle comes from that. But the NHRA boys just don't seem to do quite as well.
No.
When they go back to the 8th Mile type scenario. Granted, running quarter, whole different game in the NHRA.
Well, 100%. But I mean, let's be honest here, and we can, we can go back and forth. We can agree to disagree. We can like each other and hate each other here in the same sentence. But when you talk 8th mile racing versus quarter mile racing, you always hear this, well, you can make a mistake in quarter mile and still make it up. In 8th mile, you can't. I mean, you could literally make most guys make this, the joke at the starting line that you can make a sandwich on the starting line for a quarter mile race. You can eat your own lunch and make it up on the big end. But I mean, you've got to be on your game with 8 mile racing. And I think the guys and the girls that do it constantly, that are, racing like this all the time, I think they do hold an advantage. But in the same sense, you have someone like Lyle that goes back and forth. But I mean, Lyle is just, the guy is hungry. The guy, he wants to win. He finds a way to win. So when you have a dog, the guy's a dog, no point intended. But it all depends. But like I said, being an 8th mile guy and running the quarter a couple of times, 8th mile to me is where it's at.
Hey, love it quarter mile, love it 1,000 foot, love it in the 8th mile. Oh, there's even half mile guys out there. Love them too. So, whatever drag racing form it might take.
Yeah, that's like saying you have a 50 cents piece and you want to, take it to the store and spend it, or like using a $2 bill all the time, going half mile racing.
It's out there. Just saying. Dude, so I I don't have the photo to bring up. Maybe I will send it on in just a moment. But what's going on in your own shop? You sent through the multi-chat text deal today. What's
Hey man,
happening
whoa,
at your
hey. What happens in the group chat stays in the group chat, man.
Well, I don't know about that because I'm saving this photo like right now, and
No,
it might just make it
why
on.
are you even doing that? That should be something that the insider brings on.
Oh,
All right, are you
well,
being the insider right now?
but you're the one inside your own shop. So what's going on?
I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about, Lee. I really don't. Lee, what are you talking about?
I mean, dude, like the photo is going to come up here if we don't get it out of you, and we're just going to show it, and we're just going to have to deal with the consequences.
Guys, I plead the fifth. I don't know what he's speaking of.
Okay.
Even
Okay.
Bobby looks surprised in the green room. The insider, he looks surprised himself. So I thought we were talking.
Okay.
I thought we were talking drag racing news here.
We are talking about drag racing news with this show and the people who participate and you participating there's some imagery out there in the world for sure. So yeah, I mean,
I have no idea. What, like,
I know one thing. It must be
maybe
cold. It must be
maybe I
cold in
bumped
North
my
Dakota.
head or something. Yeah, it is. It's really cold.
Yeah, dude.
It's like 20-some degrees.
It's uploaded. You gonna tell us?
Shake and Bake show was really good. Yeah, I mean,
What's going on, man? What's going on?
Lee, what are you talking about? What do you see there, Lee?
I see a good looking hot rod. Needs some wheels and some drivetrain, but something happening. You can tell it's been in use. Look at all that rubber on the rear end of that car.
Well, that is my little baby girl, aka Miley. And yeah, she's leaving out of the stable.
Cyrus?
Yeah, that's where she got her name from. I tell you the full name, but I can't say that on air because this is a good show. Okay. Of why she's named Miley. But yeah, if you can see, there may be some, nice new metal added on there. During this winter,
looks like a few more points to that cage than what there was.
Yeah, maybe. And there's some stuff in the back, maybe if you can see, I don't know. But yeah, that's my you can take that down now.
Oh,
that'd
okay.
Be great.
Okay.
That's been my project. Honestly, you guys know what's been going on with me health-wise, and I've taken some time during, off time to kind of just do some mental clarity, and mental clarity for me was a bright light called welding. And yeah, we added some bars, and basically we're maybe going grudge racing.
I like it. I like it. There is something therapeutic about on your own time and in your own way. You flip the switch on that welder and you lower that hood and you just start laying down wire. It is therapeutic for sure, man. And hey, cool to see progress. Cool to see getting closer to having that thing back on the strip. And yeah, I'll have to come up and film Slamming Sam going straight and not barrel rolling, hopefully, because he went straight instead of trying to take, the high side and turn 4 or something.
Nah, that was the problem. I went to the high side and I was like, oh crap, this is way too high. I'm about to go off the track. So I tried to dive down. And then when I drove down, I got into some slick stuff and whoops. But yeah, so basically, Lee, long story short, honest truth about the car is I'm going to finish the front half on it, and then it's going to a secret location somewhere down south. That's all I'm going to say, to a friend of the show and a friend of ours, of mine, a really good friend of mine.
A very modern twist there, man.
A friend of ours, it's going down south, and it's getting a rear end done. It's getting some wheels and tires that are already done. Rear end's already done.
You make sure you let me know when it's there. Down south, because I am down south, and I can ride north and get you some content.
Yeah, it may be a couple of days. Actually, when it gets down there.
Yeah, right. So
no, according to tracking.
Hey man, tracking on a tow, that's nice. I didn't know that happened in day and time.
Yeah.
So we're very close here to getting Bobby Bennett on, and he's going to be coming to us from a secret location as the insider, giving us the scoop in drag racing. But Sam, it was announced, one, that we have an official coffee for the NHRA, and they have a partnership with someone that you know very well, and I know him as well. What about this partnership and official coffee of the NHRA?
I plead the fifth. I'm not giving you any more information, Lee.
Oh, you're not getting. Okay,
you you put me out there, man. This card was supposed to be a secret. I'm a little upset. Okay.
Oh, okay. Be upset. Be upset.
I trusted you and sent you that in confidence. No one has seen that. Now you showed it to the whole world.
Right. You didn't send it just to me. You sent it to the multi-text,
which was guys that I trust. I don't trust the world. I trust you, and I trust the insider, Mr. Bobby Bennett.
Okay.
And then you let everyone know.
Well, everyone now knows, and everybody's pulling for you too. They're hoping, hey, turbo and go MPK racing. So yeah,
that may be in the plans.
Yeah, there you go. I like it.
Tulsa, Oklahoma. Sorry, I had to sneeze there.
Yep, Tulsa. Very cool. But it was a big day. We've had sponsorships announced, and it's good to see the NHRA get an official anything. They've already had them, and not just official like auto parts dealer. That has been around in the NHRA, it seems like, regularly and routinely, but to have an official coffee partner and keep going on down the line, official pizza of the NHRA, and so on and so on. Those branding and marketing platforms within the NHRA, that's good news for the sport.
I mean, I think when you talk now, Lee, you have to look at it. You talk food, right? We have, I shouldn't say we got, we have in and out aboard. So I think once you kind of set that stone and that precedence of, hey, I've got these people interested, it's going to spark the interest of other food companies and other organizations and brands, because you don't want to be that person that's left out, right? You don't want to be that person that's late to the game or, slow. What's the other one? Slow on the roll or whatever. So, I mean, to see, coffee, we've already kind of seen coffee with Rodak and, his different brands of coffee. So, I mean, we're going to see more and more avenues of sponsorships and marketing partners, and Antron Brown is someone who has done it. He's done coffee. He's done pancakes. I mean, he had who would have thought pancakes would be a big deal in drag racing? But last year at Indy, I mean, he had the company came in and did a whole pancake, free serving to everyone that, came into the Matco pit. So, I mean, it's just cool to see, like you said, branching out, and who knows? I mean, maybe Slim Jim, get on board. Beef jerky. We've got beef jerky in drag racing,
right,
with the Justin Ashley's team. You know what I mean? So we're slowly, I think, gaining, and it helps with what happened last year. I mean, leading into NASCAR, following football, leading into football, those things, those little things that we maybe look at and say, hey, that was a big deal because we had this, that is going to further our impact on, our platforms. And no, I will not be putting BTR stage 3 in my car. It's staying small block Ford. And that's in the conversation about my car. Okay. In the conversation. No more questions.
The Slam and Sam has left the building concerning his car. No more questions later.
Yes, no more questions. Unless the pit insider has any questions.
So, yes, it's certainly good to see the official coffee come on board, NHRA, Fire Department Coffee. And, you mentioned Marvin Rodak. Marvin Rodak does a lot for a lot of drag racers that are independent teams, and he's the A-field sponsor in Funny Car Chaos. So shout out to Marvin Rodak and Rodak Custom Coffee. Excuse me. I need some coffee, apparently, to help me get through that, for all that he does in the sport.
Lee, I 100% agree with Mike.
Look, I
100%.
agree with Mike too, and I have even tried to do this. Like, come on, come on, Waffle House, get on board. Like, when I go to Waffle House, I rate the Waffle House. Like, they get 5 waffles out of 5. All right, or 3 waffles out of 5. I mean, I have a rating system, and I can't get them to get on board. I just can't.
See, I think when we bring on the Pit Insider, we need to talk to him. And I think we need to do like a traveling competition plus, like wherever we go out to eat, we do a small segment on like what's to eat and where to go. Like today,
Waffle House.
We're gonna Culver's.
Culver's is good. And remember, we had Krista Baldwin on, and she mentioned that's like one of her top places. So yes. Culver's is it. Culver's is it. Speaking of the Insider, let's take a break. Let's get him on from his secret location in the drag racing world. Yeah, because you're not in that chat, Darren. You're not
I'm sorry, Darren. I messaged you the other day and you didn't even message me back. So that's why you didn't get the message.
I just dropped that. I didn't really mean to drop it quite like that, but it just came out that way. It did. Folks, Weldon Pumps, they pump up the power hour. And if you need a pump for your application, well, they do it for airplanes, and they need to stay flying, so your car will certainly fly with Weldon Pumps. Bobby.
God's chicken.
Yeah.
Go get some God's chicken. All right, guys. Go ahead.
Bobby, with you mentioning that and us talking about Waffle House, John, look, I don't care if you don't care. We're going to talk about it. John's on in about 15 minutes or so, 10 minutes or so. You can come back later if you want to. We're going to talk. It's been the program of the show to have like this 30-minute block before for 112 episodes. So thanks, man. Bobby.
Come on, John. You got to care where we eat. Come on now. We got to get our endorsements in. Anyway, just so you guys know, the Insider knows all of the inside stuff. And for Slammin' Sam, he thought he was going to get one by me. Ladies and gentlemen, bring that picture up again. Bring it up again.
Oh,
come on, no, guys,
car,
right, there it is. You see it? Everybody see it?
Yep.
Okay, you can take it off the screen.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, the very first Nostalgia Factory X car.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Nostalgia Factory X. It's a thing, man. It's a thing, and Slammin' Sam is there.
That's kind of cold.
Hey, in the words of Mark Caruso, everybody's got to be somebody.
That's right. Okay, guys, how many like Comp Eliminator? Raise your hands if you like Comp Eliminator.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Sam, I can reveal more. Raise your hand.
I'm hurt.
Okay. All right. We all love Comp Eliminator. Guess who else is going to love Comp Eliminator in Indianapolis? The Racers in Comp Eliminator. We are told that courtesy, I won't say who's the sponsor. Word has it, there's a $50,000 to win Comp Eliminator shootout coming to the NHRA U.S. Nationals.
Wow.
Holla! How about that?
With that kind of money on the line, you certainly might see Comp Eliminator even have some rejuvenation to some extent. Not that it's in bad shape, but you might find other people say, "Hey, I'm going to compete here this weekend and see how I do."
Yeah, word has it, it'll be on TV too, televised.
Big news.
Wow.
Big things happening for Comp Eliminator, so be ready. You're going to see a lot of stuff. NHRA Comp Eliminator, hey, it might even be worth it if you got a car, if you're a fuel racer, to go out there and run comp. So
right,
hey,
right. Just bring it on. Put it in the trailer.
just gotta be in the top points earners in that D4 Comp Eliminator bonus. You could run for a big prize. Now, remember months ago when we told you that a funny car was going to join a one-car top fuel operation?
Yes.
Talk to me. Insider tells you a rooster lay an egg. Get the pan ready. It's about to drop. There you go. Now you see the final piece of the puzzle coming in. And I am also happy to say, as the insider, we're looking at another 30 to 45 days, and quarter-mile classifieds will hit the ground running. It'll be the official classified advertising website of Competition Plus, and a new place to sell your cars, to buy cars, to find a job, to do anything. You know, you probably can't find a wife, but you can sure find a small block forward to go in that nostalgia, a Factory X car.
So, Bobby, obviously you're referring to Tim Wilkerson, the announcement with Skag and the Maynard family. So, you got to ask, many of us expected this to occur actually at PRI. Any insider information on why this took so long?
Well, you know, with these deals, there's so much that has to go in. The I's have to be dotted, the T's have to be crossed. And at that point in time, the details just were not worked out. It had to come together at the right time and place. And for Tim Wilkerson, that Susan Wade has an excellent article on CompetitionPlus.com that he's no longer playing scared. And he's going to be a player in this championship. You always wonder what happens if one of these really good teams gets some serious money behind them, what they'll do. Well, there you go. Better jump on the Wilt Warriors army, because they're going to be running strong this year.
I certainly can believe that. Wilk always has that potential to jump up there and get a win, such as a U.S. Nationals win, and even compete for championships into the countdown. But I've seen it myself. He's pulled in a lot of different directions, and maybe this will help him that much more focus and move forward and be that much more of a threat. I guarantee there are many people in the funny car world that are like, yeah, glad for Tim, and also at the same time like, oh, man, this just made it that much more challenging.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Tim Wilkerson, man, he's a salt-of-the-earth guy. It doesn't come if you wonder why the guy has a lot of fans, just spend time with him. I mean, he's an excellent human being. Forget how great of a drag racer he is. He's just a great human being. And when you get those kind of guys that truly appreciate life every day at their fullest and look at it, challenges define you. You come out and you play like you know how to play the game.
That he certainly does. So, Bobby, where is your secret location? Can you clue us in?
I am actually down the road from Disney World. I am taking part with Darren. Come here, Darren. Come around here. As one of our staffers like to call him, the chosen one. Holla. We are at the SEMA MPMC conference, where we are actually meeting with a lot of companies to see how we can generate content for their brands. And it's a really, really good thing put on by SEMA. And, you know, it takes both to make it work. It takes the media. I'm not saying that. Well, yeah, it takes us and it takes the manufacturers getting together so we can bring to you, the consumer or future Nostalgia Factory X Racer, the latest parts that are available on the market so you can run fast.
Sorry,
Man,
Darren.
Darren's smiling. I can finally see him.
Wow.
One time.
Everybody, if you're sitting at home and you're if you need a malt beverage, cheers. Wow.
Oh, that was
Everybody
good.
take a drink to that one.
Yeah.
Woo!
Poor Darren.
That
Hey, Darren's coming up in the world. He's got business cards now.
Sam on 2 screens at once. Wow.
Oh, wow. Well, Bobby, look, any more information for us? We do got John almost queued up, ready to go here in the green room. Any more information from you, the insider?
We've got some good video projects we're working on, including a Legends of series on Sox and Martin with Buddy Martin. We are also in the midst of a redo of the original pilot that led to the creation of Legends of series.
All right.
Chasing Uncorporate America with John Force. And, since that video was done, I got about 7 years of video editing experience. So go back and see if I can improve on the original product. But the interview is just priceless.
Well, the Legends of series, obviously a great series, another great addition with what you did with Lyle Barnett, and Darren with a stellar piece on Eddie Hill. It's performing well on YouTube. Guys, definitely swing by after the show, or rather stay on the Competition Plus YouTube channel and check out all the great content. Yeah, Darren, you call him. You call him. Go ahead.
Hold on. I got a call coming in. Human resources.
Right.
Oh man.
Okay.
From now on,
Annette is
Darren,
saying awesome job on Lyle, and Doug mentions it too. The Lyle store was great. So Competition Plus rolling out the content.
Hey Darren, just so you can hear it live. You'll be the only one that gets future pictures of what's going on with Miley behind the scenes, because obviously you don't spill the beans on, the World Wide
Who was
Web.
that? Me? I'll get pictures.
Yeah, you and Darren, because Lee can't.
I'll just ride up north.
Friends wiser. Gotta pick your friends wiser.
I didn't pick him. He chose me.
There. Whichever way he is, there he is.
There we go.
Yeah.
No, I just got in Sam's way. That's how it all worked out.
I'm telling you.
I'm like,
that
you didn't.
Nostalgia
You just told
Factory
it.
X showdown. That's gonna be something else.
One of one at the racetrack coming soon.
1-1.
That's right. One in a row.
There you go.
Thank
Bobby,
you, guys.
Look, yeah, hope the show goes well, and thank you for the information. Take care, man.
All right, see ya.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Slam and Sam, are we ready for the force?
I'm feeling a little peak. Feeling like, I need to change my fluids. I need to, make sure my antifreeze is the right stuff.
Yeah.
I think it's time for the peak moment of this show.
And that's certainly John Force. Anytime he's on any show, but definitely right here.
If you want to take your vehicle's performance to new heights, you got to give it P. Like our original equipment technology, antifreeze, and coolant. Our formulas match the vehicle manufacturer's technology requirements so that we have the perfect match for every vehicle. That's one reason why Peak is among the fastest growing brands of coolant in America. We work harder to earn the trust of people like you every day.
Mr. Force, man, good to have you once again on the show. Hey, look, we got Peak as a sponsor too.
Yeah. Competition Plus. Okay, now that's Sam over here, right?
Yeah.
And the other fellow, I know his name, Stevie Wonder. I
Yeah,
jump
right.
over-
Right.
No, what's his name?
Lee.
Lee.
Yeah.
General Lee.
Hi, Sarah.
Right.
Hi.
Yep. Hello, Sarah.
Hey, Sarah's still with us. She didn't run off. She had
Right,
enough
right.
of me and she wanted to leave, and she was offered big money to go somewhere else, but loyalty played out. And a lot of my whining kept her.
Well, there you go. There you go. Well,
I think she's got another job. She keeps going to weddings. I think she's a wedding something. What's that?
planner.
I'm not a wedding coordinator. I have friends getting married. I'm getting married. That's all.
Congratulations again.
Yeah,
I
congratulations.
think I'm best man. I haven't. Her guy hasn't called me yet, but I might be.
You can be a.
Just
Why not?
kidding.
Why not?
Okay, what are we here to talk? Hey, Sam, you ready?
I don't know if I'm ready. Are you ready?
Oh, we haven't started yet? That was my best shit right there. Okay. Oh, I cussed. You can't cuss on TV. Okay, let's go to work.
Have you been drinking? You've been drinking a lot of Monster here recently, haven't you?
I got to tell you, good stuff. And they're good to my daughter. That's what makes me happy. And they teamed up with Flavor Pack on her Top Fuel car, and they won the championship. Brittany Forrest, world champ. And that's her second one. We're really proud of her, Mom, and everybody on this team.
Good deal.
Right. I mean, John Force Racing overall had a good year, John. I mean, championship and Top Fuel, and you have Austin competing for that championship down the wire, and you did well, and Robert did well also. I mean, it was a good year for JFR.
I never figured that out. Old Proc just come out of nowhere, and next thing I'm at the banquet, and they tell me he's third in the points. I go, how the heck did that happen? But he made it. Robert fought, and I want to congratulate, all of the champions. My daughter, of course, but Ron Capps won the championship. But I got to say, Robert Height, right there to the wire. I don't know how that happened. We were already ordering rings. We thought we already had it won, but Cap's got it, and we'll be back fighting next year. Now NHRA's got some new stuff, races within races during qualifying at the opening of the season to earn points, to earn money. They're bringing money to the racers. That's good.
So when you talk about that, John, I mean, like you said, races and qualifying, and you're trying to jockey for points and qualifying spots. Do you think that plays, havoc or plays any different into your style of racing and crew chiefing, and how does that all, work out for you guys?
Well, I watched it evolve in NASCAR, and I got to admit, sometimes I get so confused I can't tell who's in the points lead, and but they do it, one, NHRA to put people in the stands, number two, to create more excitement, and they're trying to generate revenue, for the teams, trying to generate more revenue. So I don't know if I like it or don't, but that's not my job. My job is to race cars and try to win. And that's what Pete pays me for in Blue Def, and of course Chevrolet, NK Seed, John Powers with Power Solar, all the stuff we're doing and where we're going. It's going to be an exciting year. Of course, Frank Teagues with Montana Brand, Proc, Flavor Pack, and Monster Energy. And the list goes on and on. I'll plug some more here when I get a few minutes.
Well, I tell you what, man, keep going on.
Let's don't forget that. They've been with me. They've been with me the longest now with Robert Height and myself, and they're still with us. So we've been real lucky with sponsors coming back. And you guys know on your show, sponsors are what it's all about. Got to take care of it.
You got to take care of them. And look, keep on plugging, because it sounds like John Force Racing has definitely had not just a good year competitively, but a good year in the marketing platform, because Peak is back on, Chevrolet's back on. You've got those tried and true brands that are staying with the Force brand, and drag racing has got to feel pretty good right now, especially after COVID and everything, John.
Well, one of the things after COVID, especially, but you got to look at B2B business. I'm not Hendricks. I don't own car dealerships I
I saw a thing on TV earlier today with Jeff Gordon. Actually, John Powers called me and told me about it. He said it all started with DuPont because of all the dealerships that Hendricks owned, and in the middle of all that, that's how the deal worked. So I've got to do B2B with my partners. I try to sell solar. I try with Power Solar. I try to tools with Cornwell Tools. A lot of exciting stuff going on with Cornwell, and I'm really looking forward to this year with all the changes. Schedule's a little crazy. It moved around. Now we got an extra 30 days we're trying to kill, but we always complain we don't have enough time. And then now we got a month, and it's like, let's get going. Let's go racing.
So let's just be honest, John. How do you like the switch in the schedule? What does that do for you guys? How do you feel about it?
Well, NHRA, they do it for reasons. NASCAR, as big as we are, NASCAR's bigger, but NASCAR's got the Coliseum race, and it was basically the same time as our Pomona, our opening race here at Auto Club. And now, of course, we got to welcome the new partner coming in with NHRA, and that's In-N-Out Burger, one of my favorite places to eat. They got me back on Nutrisystem, though, for the last 2 months, trying to keep myself right to stay up with these kids. But in the process, it's just strange. I'm so used to being here and going to Pomona, and now, we're going to be testing in Gainesville. And of course, there's a big race down there with, that they're going to kick off a race within a race with the Top Fuel Dragsters. And then, of course, we do it. NHRA's made an announcement of a new sponsor. And I ain't going to say them because I can't get them all right. But Pep Boys for the Dragsters. And what's the new one, Sarah? I know it's a food company, and I know the name.
Mission Tortillas.
Yeah, it's Mission. And they've been around forever. We've eaten their products. They sell a little bit of everything. So that's exciting that they got that for the funny cars, which will start the first part of the season and come out later in the year. Of course, the funny cars will be doing the Pimp Boys, what's it called? Shootout? Is that what it is? Okay. Or whatever it's called. But at least I got the sponsors in there. But I'm excited. Cornwell Tools, all these people signing up, Auto Club, like I said, and Baldwin Filters, all this. Where we're going, it's exciting times.
Well,
Can I answer anything? I'm putting him to sleep over there.
Not at all. Not at all.
No,
I'm
not
just
at all,
listening
not
to
at all.
you, say all these different sponsors. And we kind of talked about that earlier, talking about the coffee that's coming into drag racing with Antron Brown announcing that, and pancakes. I mean, what more, do we need, or which one of your favorite places other than In-N-Out are we missing in drag racing, John?
So he's coming in. Antron's got a coffee deal. I thought you said coffee's coming in or something, and then you said pancakes.
Yes,
an IHOP or something.
No, Antron Brown had a small deal with a pancakes company that came into Indy last year, and they made pancakes for everyone in the pit. So I was asking you, which one of your favorite restaurants other than In-N-Out would you like to see in drag racing?
I could name so many. I could go on and on. But I always look at Applebee's because it's in one of my favorite movies. The NASCAR movie. What's that guy's name in the NASCAR movie where he drives around in circles and his car's got a lion on the front and it's called Me?
Oh, Ricky Bobby.
Ricky Bobby. But Applebee's, that's the place, we like to go. And that's because they're everywhere on the road and they support racing, even if it's not us. But, never know, they might. So let's see where it goes.
Applebee's on John Force's car. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
I'd like to see a Waffle House John Force car. That would be epic.
It freaks me out, but, I'm from the old world. I grew up eating in Denny's. I worked in a Foster Freeze. I've worked everywhere in fast food. My mom was a cook. I was a chef. I did a lot of that stuff. But at Waffle House, it still amazes me to take my kids there, my grandkids. Love the food. You know what I mean? It's just good stuff at any time of the night. And so there's a lot of great companies out there. But I got to get back to plugging mine. If you give me a few years, I'll plug them for you.
Right. You definitely will. You definitely will. John, look, I wanted to kind of wait toward the end, but later on, we've got to kind of segue in a different way. I'm going to bring up this image. And this year, you're not done racing, but they're going to go ahead and induct you into the International Drag Racing Hall of Fame this year. Man, you always are saying that you're chasing the Bernsteins and the Perdomes and the Garlets. I dare say you've surpassed them, and you're going to get honored and put in that Hall of Fame while you're still racing, while you're still kicking, and that is very cool.
Well, thank you. I'm really proud, honored to go in. I've been in a number of Hall of Fames, but Gartlets is there, and like Don Perdome, these guys, Shirley Muldowney, they're my heroes, and I came up in that era, and you're never going to get me to say that I've done anything better. They did it when they did it. I was doing it. I kind of followed, even though it just took me years to get up to where I could win. Austin Coyle come on board, and him and Bernie Federley. But Dinsmore is going to be inducting me. But I was really honored. When Gartlets called me personally and told me I was going in, it was really cool because I just love the man and what he's done. And you look, he's no youngster, but look at his health. He's perfect. He's like Perdome. They just don't age. Look at me. I do. But, they love the sport. Surely they've given their life to it, and so many others. You know what I mean? And I'm just really proud to be a part of it. I'm going to go there and have a little bit of fun and thank all the people. But me getting in that club, that Hall of Fame, it isn't me. It's the people, from Steve Pluger in my early days to Gary Dincham helping me in Australia. The list goes on and on. The people that I've won with, Jimmy Prock, Austin Coyle, Bernie Federley, and now my son-in-law and Daniel Hood is running the car. It's a whole new world, and I'm just excited to be a part of it. I got to stay healthy, and I'm working on it. I get up 6 in the morning, and I go to work. And if I don't wake up at 6, John Powers wakes me at 6:30 every day. He just calls to say hi. But I got to stay in shape to stay in this fight. I'm no youngster, but the sponsors like Pete, they love what I do. I sell Chevrolets, and hell, we might be driving some electric cars out there. Hopefully, showing what else is in the world that's available. And but I'm a nitromethane combustion engine type of guy. That's where I came from. But love being part of Gartlets. And I'm going to go down there and have fun and show respect to the people and thank all the people, or at least a lot of them, that the reason John Forrest has accomplished what he's accomplished with wins and championships wasn't me. I was just a guy stuck in the seat. But I was part of it. But it was the people that took me down that road that helped me win championships, and why I got these sponsors. The sponsors got me here. Without them, couldn't be here. That's why I'm excited to hear about Antron, getting involved in new stuff, and then other drivers that are finding deals and moving ahead. Caps owning his own team, all cool stuff. Wilkerson getting this guy that he joined with, and always want to thank Schumacher and everything that he's done for our sport. And don't give up now. Schumacher, if you got nowhere to go, come join me. I love you.
Like that. So, John, you talk about, and we kind of talked about it last week, is, how drag racing has evolved and where we've come from. Do you think at this point in drag racing and the success we've had with social media, great people like Sarah and Bobby and Lee behind the cameras and telling these stories, do you think it's time for drag racing to kind of have like a throwback race where we see the old the late, 90s paint schemes come back and show just, that generation of racing that we had before.
I got 60 cars between Indy and here, of the cars that one day when I do retire, I am going to do a tour and go back to the people in the beginning, Coca-Cola, Mountain Dew, Wendy's hamburgers, Wiener Schnitzel, just all the places, Castrol. I'm going to try to just show a lot of respect to a lot of people that got me here. That's my dream. I don't know if it'll happen, but, I got coming here tomorrow. Kurt Roberts is coming in here with a lady that's won some Oscars in Hollywood producing movies, and she's coming to meet with Ashley and my family that there might be some interest in our show. Of course, I've got Brent Travers, the guys that did our TV shows and have done a lot of stuff with. But I got a lot of stuff I want to do with my family and now my grandkids, but I'm putting in a lot of time in soccer. My grandson, Jacob and Noah, they play for the Ducks. You know what I mean? And it's just fun to watch and be a part of it. So where I'm going, I don't know, but I'm going to drag race till I drop. And that's my promise to the fans that got me here and the sponsors. And I'm going to keep doing it as long as I can get on this screen and still entertain people a little bit. I know I'm a little goofy, but I really love what I do. And thank you for allowing us to be on your show.
John, later on tonight, we're going to have Whit Bazemore on the show. Whit Bazemore, when that name is thrown out there, what is conjured up in the mind of John Force?
Well, first of all, he was a great race car driver, great in funny cars. I knew him back when he owned his own funny car, and he lived it like I did. He loved it, and then we battled it out, for years, and just everything you could imagine. And he's just a good racer. But I want to tell you, like he probably don't like me so much, but I got to tell you, he called me in the hospital when I crashed at Dallas. And he goes, "Hey, it's Bazemore." I said, "Hey, Baze, what's going on?" They had me all on medication. I had tubes stuck all in me. And he said, "I want to call you." He says, and he didn't have to tell me, "I'm no big fan of yours, but we raced and we fought it out, but we respected each other." And in the end, he said, "You got to treat rehab what you're going to go through," because he went through it. He got hurt real bad and broke his legs and stuff. And I broke my arms and legs. And he said, "You got to live it every day, working out like you're at Disneyland. You got to live it or you'll never come back." And he said, "Don't get trying to sell sponsors." And I'm yelling every day, but he was there. And I remember that. I remember being in there trying to work out. I was on walkers and trying to do stuff because I had atrophy. Is that what it's called? I couldn't lift my head. And I think that's what it's called. Is that what it's called, Sarah? When you can't move your head after sitting for so long? Atrophy? No. Anyway, in the middle of it, I remember being so mentally down. I would sit in there and cry, and people would come over. "Are you okay? Here's John Force." And he's sitting over here crying because I'm fighting to get back, and you just couldn't get there. And yet I'm going to get there. But I kept hanging on to his words. And I was down there in Baylor for 6-7 weeks. And I remember they took me downstairs when I started rehab, and that's bull rider country. And all these little kids are in there with broken arms and legs, and they just melted my heart. And I said, "Forrest, quit whining. Go to work like these kids." Like, "Yeah, I was in here a month ago, broke my arm, and then I got fixed, and now I'm back here with a broken leg, and I'm going to get back." And it made you realize, get up and go to work. And that's what I do every day. And but Bazemore's a good guy. I wish I had him back in a race car. I wish we had Bazemore back. I miss all these guys. They're really great drivers, great racers. God, I sound like I work for Bazemore. I'm plugging him more than me.
No, and I mean, that's what I think, drag racing is made of, right? A bunch of people that still do care. I mean, reaching out, making those phone calls, and, even though it may be some of your tough competitors, but this year for you, John, you had some ups and some downs and some moments where, people thought you were racing one way or another. I mean, you always say you're the old guy, in the seat, and you're racing against all these younger guys. What advantages does John Force have versus his competitors?
Well, they've grown. I mean, you look at my age. I'm 73, and then probably the closest to me was Carmesini's. He was older than me, and he was doing it because he loves driving a top fuel car, and I love driving funny cars. But there's guys out there that are 50 now, or maybe a few years older. I don't know anybody my age. Big Jim Dunn, we've been around forever, and he's not driving, but he's out there tuning. He's on that start line. So there's no reason you can't do it if you love it. Do what you love. Why go home and sit in a rocking chair? And, I thought about that. It just don't work for me. But in the middle of it, I've got to keep my weight down. I had to quit drinking. I stopped about 2.5 months ago, dry, because I need everything to keep my wits about me. Doctors doing all my stuff, everything from, having my teeth cleaned and my eyes checked and getting back on Nutrisystem to get my weight down there. And in the middle of all this, I got to do it to stay in the game with the kids. So I go after them with everything I got, but I don't have their reflexes. I don't have what they got. And that's why, I don't ever try to screw with nobody. I do what I do when I'm up against a guy that's better than me on the lights. Then I try to go deep on him. And I know I give away lane choice, and the crew chiefs get madder than hell, but I got to get that round win if I can. And some days it pays off, some days it don't. Some days I'm just slow. But I'm in the fight. I finished 5th in the points. I'm running for more championships. That's what I wake up every day that makes me tick. That's what I live for. So I drove my way. Yeah, I aggravate some guys because sometimes I'm real slow, and I tell them I'm slow. So if you don't like that I set too long, then I'll go in first. And I've done that. And then they go, why do you go in first? Well, how do I make you happy? So the real truth is, in the old days, when I raced to Perdomes and Mongoose and Raymond Beetle, they didn't tell you nothing. They did what they wanted to do. And that's what I do. I own the car. I have the right to drive it my way. I don't question what anybody else does. Nobody should deliberately set on anybody. I don't think they do. Happens every now and then, but it could have been by accident. So don't judge a man what you think. Judge by what you know. And you got to walk in their shoes before you know what they're doing. And nobody walks in my shoes, and nobody wants to. They just want to beat me, and I want to beat them. And I'm having a ball racing these kids and watching them. So I'm going to take everything I got, and I'm going to bring it to the game. And I'm going to get better because I've learned a lot. I've been to a lot of studies. I read books on sports stuff, how to get better. And I'm figuring out every day how to make me better to stay up with the youth, because they are the future of our sport. I'm not the future. They're the future. But I'm going to be around a while, so don't plan on getting rid of me.
Well, we certainly don't want you to go anywhere anytime soon, but you are talking about the youth that is out there, those young bucks, and want to get your commentary on a couple of them. So Bobby Bodie and Alex Laughlin now stepping into Funny Car. Your thoughts on guys like that and where they might be in the future, and who is that young person that in 10 years is going to be making a career in Funny Car? Well,
number one, they got to be out here, and they're out here, so they're proven they know how to work with people that have money, or they know how to find money. And Laughlin, I don't know him very well, but he's a heck of a driver. You know what I'm saying? And the other kid, Bodie, just watching him drive, he whooped me in a race, and he was so excited he got out of the car that he beat John Force. That made me, I was almost like jumping up and down for him. And then I said, don't act like that. You're supposed to be winning. Tom Hervis, that owns Old World Industries, Peak and Blue Def, and all these companies, he wants to win. And he's my age, but he wants to see John Force win. That's what I want to do. So I'm going to keep trying. But yeah, there's some young kids out there. I hired the young Proc, and let me tell you, he's killer on that Christmas tree. You know what I'm saying? He's like Robert Height. They're really good. And but so is Hagen. But you look at you don't think the muscles in Hagen's leg legs help him pound that throttle, and the muscles in Robert's legs and Proc, that they have the strength. And, I've lost a lot of muscle over the years, and I work out in the gym, and half the time at my house, when my daughter and them stay with me, there's old Graham Rahal down there in the gym. He's down there for hours working out. And I love to go down there with him. We watch football and stuff. So life is really good for me right now. And my granddaughter Autumn is coming up, and she's moving up. And you got to thank Torrance, the dad, what he's done to help Robert and her with the car. He got him a car, and he's just really a good guy that cares about racers and about the kids. And he says he has more fun with the kids like he did with his own kid, because racing gets too serious. It's a business. But the kids are having fun coming up, so only time will tell where they go.
So we had someone mention in the comments that you need to get Stevie Fast Jackson in one of your cars. How do you feel about that, John?
Now, you're talking about the kid that Bobby Bennett is always talking to me about? The kid that's fast, drives Pro Mod?
Yep.
Yeah, I met him.
Yes.
He's a great kid. I just don't have a seat. I got my job with Peak, Robert, with Auto Club. And we got some new announcements we're going to be making here down the road. But Auto Club's with us. They love Robert Height. And then there's Proc driving Montana brand, and Brittany driving Flavor Pack and Monster. So I've got to make sure that I keep these drivers in the seat. And Proc will probably replace me in time. But I am looking, as long as I can afford these 4 teams, my sponsors can afford them. They pay the bills. Then I'm looking for drivers. If I had to get somebody tomorrow, it'd be a guy like Bazemore. It'd be a guy like I've talked to Jack, Fast Jack Beckman about coming over here. And but that kid's smart. I've watched him. He went by my pits at Charlotte, and he won the race. And he's in his car, and he smoked the tires in the pits right in front of me. He just wanted to let me know I'm here. And Bobby Bennett introduced me to him. I really like him. And I will evaluate it when the time comes, but I'm just not ready yet.
You're saying there's a chance, though.
Yeah.
So, John, Scott's got a good question. Definitely.
Tomorrow and hire him tomorrow. I just don't want to get out of the seat yet. I'm still loving it.
Hey, I don't blame you. Scott wants to know, John, who is your Super Bowl pick? Who's going to win it all in the NFL this year?
Well, you know what? I watched Brady because I really wanted to see him come back, and he pulled it out a few times because, he's 40. He should be at retirement, and I kind of looked at him, and I had family joke. So if Brady's out, no, he made the playoffs at least. He didn't get to the Super Bowl, but he's still in the fight. But I got to tell you, I've always been a Cowboys fan. I think it's because of the cheerleaders. But I follow the teams, but I'm also a California guy. I supported the Rams. I love those guys. But now it's the 49ers. And, boy, and some of these teams got rookie quarterbacks. They don't even know where they came from. And they're out there running for the, for Super Bowl. So but I like Kansas City. Because my guy Duke, Kevin McCarthy's from Kansas, and I've been to some games there. I knew some of the players, but I like that quarterback. I think it's Mahone, really good. Even when he hurt his foot last week, he could still throw a football, unbelievable. But some of these quarterbacks that run, they're really, they're not supposed to run and get hurt, but they run the heck out of that ball. So, but I'm gonna root for. For San Francisco because they're in California, but that's not my team. I come from the Rams. Even when they went to St. Louis, I still cheered for them because I grew up. I had a Ram uniform, helmet, and fired. All my cousins all had them. The Joneses and the Condit boys and everybody, and we all played football every weekend. We loved it, tackle football. So we'll see what they do. I'll be watching it.
I like that, San Francisco, but I don't know. I'm thinking the Eagles might take it.
Well, I don't know who's going to win. I'm just saying I root for my guy. So I'm not changing my story. I'm just they're California based, and that's what I should do, I think.
So, John, I mean, you're an innovator in the sport. You've always promoted your brand. For someone that is, looking to get into the sport, or maybe, they've been successful, but they want to move up, what would you teach them about, or what would you say to them about the marketing side of our sport and motorsports?
Well, first thing I'd say is don't take this job unless you truly love it, because it's not what you see on TV. I get up at 6 in the morning and I'll still be working at 10 o'clock tonight watching TV. I'll have the phone in my hand talking to a sponsor. You got to live it. You got to love it. Whether you're a owner, a driver, a crew chief, you're in PR or social media, it doesn't matter. Or you work on the car doing the clutch or tuning it, you got to love it. That's number one. But I always say, get an education. Okay, even if you're racing, coming up through the ranks, get that education, get as much as you can. And the computer world is taking over. I'm a dinosaur. I still struggle with my phone. But what I'm saying is get an education. So there's so much stuff in all, parts of racing, no matter where you're at in media, like Sarah, or wherever you're at, the new world is taking over the technology. And if you want to race, get a little bit of marketing. You need to know about marketing. The racing, if that's what you want to do, whether you win or not, you're getting to do what you love. But marketing, learn B2B business, how to grow your other partners. That's what you got to do. I'm still learning it, and I'm not real good at it. But in the middle of it, do it because you love it. Get an education, you know what I mean, where you can apply that education. But if you're going to go into marketing, over deliver. That's what I've always done. I've had people say it to me, like, I showed up to see my race car and trailer, like, I never knew I paid for this. Well, I over deliver. Once I get in the game, I find out how to take care of them, what they need, what their needs are. How can I help them with partners? How can I go to NHRA and try to get them in the midway? How can I maybe sell them a race? So what I'm saying is along the way, you got to give them what they want. We can't all be world champions. It all depends on how bad you want it. That's what it's about. But find the money and hire the right people and stay after it, and you'll get there. It's out there. All you got to do is want it. Okay? And live it with the right people and treat your people fair. But in marketing, you got to sell. You got to live it. My wife will get mad sometimes. John, can't you go to the movies that you don't wear a hat? Well, my hair was messed up. Well, why don't you put on a hat you got for Christmas? Well, why do I want to wear a hat where people see me? One, they recognize me in this white hat with Pete. And number two, why would I wear a hat for somebody that sold me the hat and a sponsor that pays me? That's what I want to wear. I've been in Hawaii on the beach in my bathing suit wearing my peak hat because that's what I'm proud of. That's who John Force is. And so you got to live it. You got to make them your way of life. You got to keep the sponsors. You got to keep that team friendly, but you got to sell. And you got to live it every day. And I got the help right now. I've got some marketing people I'm working on. It's got some new others coming in. But I got Robert Hine selling deals right along with me. Hell, he closed half my small deals and one of my biggest. So he's really good. Robert's an all-around guy. So he's president of the company, and he makes stuff happen for me. So, and I love him to death. And he's tired of hearing me say it. He's like my wife. But I just keep doing it. I'm having fun. Had a physical, got a clear bill of health. Heart's good. Getting the weight where I want to be. I lost 25 pounds. I'll probably gain 10 of it back. I'm fixing all that. Time to go drag racing. And I'm really proud and honored to be part of NHRA, Camping World. I love what they're doing. Cromwell works really hard, him and Peter Clifford, to keep this thing afloat. And our job is to go out there, not just race, but entertain the fans. And that's what we do best.
Well, John, thank you for coming on. Certainly always a pleasure to have you on. And we're going to let you go. Enjoy the rest of your evening there in Southern California. So thank you for the time once again.
No, thank both of you for what you do to preach the gospel. Tell Bobby Bennett, I'm going to try to find some time. I want to meet with him, maybe have lunch or something. But I know they're at this big thing because Bolander's out here from Peak, and they're all down, learning about social media and how to spread the gospel. And that's what it's all about, spreading the gospel and entertaining. God bless you both. Love your show.
Take care, John.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, Sam. Sorry.
No, I just
We
kicked
do.
me off. I see how you are. I
I'm
see how
sorry,
you
man.
are. But
I'm sorry, man.
I am happy to, I'm getting sick. Okay, here it goes. Here's my one complaint right here. Thanks, Sarah. I see you. Thanks again. Every time I say Sarah on my MacBook, guess who pops up? Siri.
Siri?
Like,
Siri?
yeah, I'm like, I don't have an accent that bad. Like, I know I live in the sticks in North Dakota, but I mean, come on, Apple. But man, Lee, what's about to happen on this show? I think we're really about to take this show like to another level. Like, if you were here last week and you were ready for a guy who tells it like it is, there's no gray, black, and in between. There's just white and black. And if you want a middle area, there's none of that in motorsports. The guy that's about to come on is about to just tell you the truth and nothing else. But Lee, I think we need to brighten up this show a little bit before we bring our next guest on.
I agree.
Classic car owners, make your headlights over twice as bright with Holley Retro Bright LED headlights. A plug-in replacement for those dim halogen seal beams, Retro Bright maintains that classic look and lasts 6 times longer. Stay safe and click the link below to learn more.
Competition Products, your source for hardcore engine parts for street, strip, and oval track. Our free catalog is packed with hundreds of product lines from the best-known manufacturers in the performance industry. Lowest prices guaranteed. Free shipping and handling on all orders over $149 in the continental U.S. Need expert advice? Our knowledgeable staff is just a phone call away. Competition Products, race parts sold by racers since 1970.
Whit Bazemore on the Competition Plus Power Hour. Man, good to have you.
How you guys doing?
Man, doing great. Getting to talk to John Forrest, a legend. Getting to talk to Whit Bazemore, a legend. That's pretty cool, too. So it's definitely been a good night on the show. So, Whit, wow. First, let's start here. Let's get it out of the way. Let's make sure, okay? We have Maurice DuPont make a comeback. We have Mike Janis say he's going to get back in a pro mod. We have all these, Scotty Cannon's coming out of the woodwork saying he's ready to ride. Are you on the show to make an announcement that you're coming back to Funny Car? I just want to make sure.
Absolutely. I'm going to be driving for John starting tomorrow.
Boom.
Doesn't that sound good?
That would be
there you
good.
go.
That'd be
Why not?
Would it be good driving for John or driving against John? I think I'd prefer to drive against him again.
Yes.
We do have some unfinished business, but no, it's weird hearing his voice when I logged on. It's like, wow, I'm like in a time capsule. Went back in time, and he's talking the same BS. You're spreading the gospel. You're doing this. You're doing that, and kissing ass, and all the good shit he does all the time, and he does it better than anyone. So we're actually buddies now. So it's good. I need to call him. Maybe I'll call him tomorrow.
Well,
I think
to answer your question, no.
He
did mention
phone calls, yeah, because
phone calls and lunch dates.
What did he mention?
I mean,
he
mentioned making some
him,
phone calls and
we
having
asked
some
him
lunch dates
about you, and he was like, yeah, he called me when I was in the hospital and really encouraged me and blah, blah, blah. So, yeah.
Yeah, I tried to sneak in, but, to unplug all the stuff, but it didn't work out that way. I mean, it's racing, right? You do what you got to do.
Yeah.
I learned that from him. So
if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying, right?
That's right. So are we on? Because we had some technical difficulties here. I don't have Lee Beard here to tune up my laptop.
Yeah. No,
or get all this camera stuff going. So
no, you're good, man. You're live to the drag racing world, and you look good. You sound clear. So,
perfect.
we're rolling. We are rolling. Been rolling. And look, we also need. So, last week, with not having you, we just talked about you. That's what we do if we don't get a guest on. And we need to finish a debate. So, the Winston cars.
Yeah.
This hot rod of yours right here. Or
I can't see that.
Oh, you can't see it. You can't see the photo.
No.
Okay, let me describe it. So you've got the plain red and white Winston, I think from like 95 and then like 96 one with a little bit of black and gold and silver in there with Winston on it. Which one did you prefer?
Well, the two Winston cars were actually 97 and 98. 98. So the 97 one was the Mustang with the white stripe down the side. Yeah, that's it. And that's Indy. I like that one.
Likes that one. There we go. We got it, Sam.
That was it.
No, the one the 98 that looks like the Marlboro. It has the stripe around the side with the black pin stripe. Oh,
don't say Marlboro. We're talking about Winston.
We're talking about Winston now. Yeah.
Dude, you
no, the 98 car had the vertical black and gold stripe thing on it that went around the hood. It was different. I have a die cast somewhere. I think they're all in my son's room. But no, the 97 car was that's the car I got my first win in. We won 4 races that year. It was an Al Swindle car. It was the last car that Al built. We had a great team. We won Indy. So, and we actually finished, technically we finished 3rd to Force and Pedregon and Tony. But I call it 2nd because they were like one car. You know what I mean? So we'll let it go. But so we contended in the summer. We contended for the championship, and then we struggled there at the end and just couldn't get it done. But no, it was a great car, great times. In fact, I was talking to Chris Cunningham about a month ago, who was the crew chief on that car, along with Rob Flynn, and Rob was actually the crew chief, but they both did it, and we were talking about that year. It was a great year, so that's my favorite by far.
All right, so a little bit off topic, but behind your shoulder there, I see which I'm assuming, being from North Dakota, is a wood burner stove.
It is.
And you have and it's actually lit. So where in the world are you?
This is a cabin in the woods south of Bend, Oregon, and a little bit south of town, like 7 or 8 miles. It's pretty cool. I love it. It's got hardwood ceilings, hardwood floors. It's got some architectural details that I like, and it's small, but it might be in the 20s tonight outside. It gets cold here at night. It gets cold here at night all the time. And so even in the summertime, it can be 95 in the daytime. And then at night, it'll dip down into the low 50s, even the 40s sometimes. So it's really good. But yeah, it stays warm. I think it's like 72 in here. I mean, I'm wearing a sweatshirt, but I got the sleeves rolled up, and it's the wood stove. It's awesome. So you're in North Dakota?
Yes.
What does one do there?
Well, let's see. I mean, if it's not snowing 20-something inches in a matter of a day, and it's not -60 and the wind's blowing. Let's see. I mean, during the summers, as Lee spoiled my secret, I drag race or I go to NHRA races, and if I'm not doing that, then I am on the ice reffing ice hockey.
Oh, cool.
That's a lot of my off season, my winter. travel the world and ref junior hockey and get verbally abused by 18-year-olds.
Tough. I have a 17-year-old, so I can relate.
Yeah,
that's tough. In fact,
no,
mine told
keeps me in shape.
last week. He said, "Dad, you're way stronger than you think you are," because I was getting verbally abused, and we were actually driving, so I backhanded him from the driver's seat, and he's like, "Oh wow!" Like almost knocked the wind out of him, I think, but I shouldn't say that. They might come. Child services will show up, but no, tough love, right? You got to. In these kids these days, not mine particularly, but it seems to me like a lot of kids have some kind of entitlement thing going on. And I think every kid as part of high school should have to go drag racing for a year. And that'll fix whatever problems they have, that'll fix them immediately.
Whit for president.
Yeah, Whit for president. That would be a fascinating program for sure. And look, you speaking of the driver's seat, Levi Osborne asked a question I think a lot want answered. They want to know, we'll let you clue us in, why is Whit not racing anymore?
It's easy to answer that. In the big picture, I'm not racing because I don't want to. I did it. I'm kind of one of those people that I do something and I get to a certain level and then I kind of lose interest, and it's healthy and unhealthy at the same time. So it's not a trait that there's no way I would do this the way John does it, forever. I was actually talking to a friend of mine the other day. I had a good friend of mine from high school came out here just to go Nordic skiing with me for a couple of days. And so we were, and he's not a drag racing person at all. He's actually one of the most well-known and respected medical illustrators in the country. So he was a professor at University of Georgia in Athens. So, but I was telling him how, we'd be testing in Tucson, and from the track, I could see Mount Lemmon, and there's a road. It's a really well-known cycling road that goes up Mount Lemmon, and I could see the road cutting the side of the mountain from the racetrack. And it'd be a beautiful day. We're testing the funny car, and by 2:00 in the afternoon, I'm looking at that road, going, "God, I wish I could go ride my bike." So that's a sign of you're not, I loved driving. I loved racing, and I loved winning, but it's a lifestyle and it's very, very, it's very difficult. And people don't, you're all in. Like I'm all in. Like if I do it, it's 110%. And so my son was born in 2005, and then we got pregnant with my daughter. And so at that point, it's like, am I going to be a dad, a great dad, or am I going to be MIA? And the thing is, racing is a very selfish sport. It's extremely selfish because it's all about you, and everyone else around you has to sacrifice. And if they don't, like I dated my high school sweetheart, and she went to college in Vanderbilt. And then while she was at Vanderbilt, I started my racing career, and she didn't like racing, and she didn't like it, and she didn't like me doing it because it scared her. And then we had a few fires, and that really scared her. So that ended that, that ended it. And after 10 years of dating this woman, and so that kind of selfishness, it impacts your life in every way. And you can look at some racers and see how they try to make up time with their kids later on in life. But I was fortunate that so I started to think about my family a little bit, just a little bit. And then I drove in 2007 the Top Fuel car with Beard as the crew chief, and honestly, I didn't like the Top Fuel car. And I'd gotten in the funny car. I'd gotten to a point where I didn't feel like I could improve much more as a driver after however many years that was, 15 or whatever it was, 16. So it just got, I wasn't growing. But honestly, if the sport was a little different today, I would be more interested, honestly. But the way it is now, like I'd have, I mean, if I came back, if the phone rang, I'd give it 100%. And I might do it. I might not. I don't know. I'd have to think about it. But if the sport had some different rules and was a little different, then that old passion would resurface. Does that answer that?
I don't know. That does, but I kind of interested in these.
Long answer. Sorry.
Kind of interested in this difference that you speak of, but I won't go there. I do want to ask this question.
I'll tell you. I'll tell you exactly what I think.
Well,
yeah,
I mean, we
didn't
always
give us the politically correct answer just now. I mean, he was very look. It's a selfish sport. I mean, it's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing, like Force, just listening to him, I mean, he is politically correct. I'll give him that. He told me one time, "Goddamn, Bazemore, you don't know how to play the damn game. You got to play the game. You got to learn how to play the game." It's like, I don't play games. I just want to race and race well and win. That's it. So there's no game to play. But you do have to. You do have to play the game to a certain extent, and we did. You're professional. You represent companies, and and I had a lot of good relationships with a lot of really big companies like Mobile One, RJR. I worked for RJR when I was 16 or 17, and then for Winston, and then so those relationships carried on for 20 years, and so you do. It's a business. So you're a racer, but you're also a businessman, and you've got to. Yeah, as a racer, you can't get out of the car and not be professional, but it is racing, and you're there to win and entertain. Forrest talked about entertainment, and like when Ken Block passed away a couple of weeks ago, that was really sad. But I watched some of his videos that I hadn't watched, and some I'd watched a while back, but I kind of spent an afternoon with Ken Block on my laptop, and there's a lot to learn from that guy, and there's a lot that I think the drag racing can learn from that guy. The biggest takeaway I had in watching him is okay, he raced, he rallied, and he did fairly well, and was good, but that's not what made him Ken Block. He had fun. It was fun. He was having fun doing what he did, and one video of his, just one, has more tire smoke in it than an entire season of NHRA Top Fuel and Funny Car classes combined, pretty much doing burnouts, because they hardly smoke the tires anymore. So it's something like that. It is entertainment. Forrest talked about entertainment, but I think drag racing is not the entertainment at all that it used to be. It just isn't. I mean, we had Jungle Jim. You had Garlitz speaking his mind. You had Shirley Muldowney speaking her mind. You had Don Perdome being Don Perdome, being the snake. You had the ace, and then later you had Bernstein, who was a businessman, but still had an aura around him. And you had Raymond Beadle, who was very entertaining and a legend. You had people like that, and Richard Tharp. Who do we have now? You tell me. I'm asking you. Who in a fuel car entertains you now? Because I don't even watch it, so I don't know. But who's entertaining? Who would fit in with that crowd? It's a tough question. See, there's nobody.
You're gonna say
no. You make the point that a lot of us continue to talk about. Yeah.
It's a problem.
That was
and so like Ken Block is smoking the tires in this Mustang or whatever he's in, a Subaru, a Mustang. You know, he had a bunch of different cars. But you know, these guys today, they do a burnout and they shut the thing off before the tree. You know, so forget about 300 feet. And let me tell you, as a driver, doing a 300-foot burnout in a funny car is a lot of fun because it takes such throttle control without a throttle stop. It takes throttle control and you're steering it, you know, and you're keeping it straight. And you go out there and the fans are standing up. You can hear them over the motor, like at Englishtown match racing. And it's packed on a Wednesday night. I mean, it's packed, totally full, standing room only. And they're yelling and screaming. You know, that's what I'm talking about. That was cool. And now, and it's not just drag racing. It's not just NHRA that's kind of gone down this road of the technology of racing tends to make racing less exciting. It makes it faster. Formula One is faster. MotoGP, now they have aero stuff and it's screwed up the racing because the bike's behind, the front tire overheats, and then they crash. You can't ride a bike with too much air pressure in the front tire. You just can't. You have no feel, no traction. So, and it's all because of aero on the front of those bikes. So in drag racing, it's the same. The technology. Look, I was at a race, I think in 2016 or 2017. And I was in Antron's pit area talking to Karate and Mark Oswald and looking in the cockpit. And I've mentioned this before. And they're the parachute levers on the side, and they had this thing. And I'm like, well, what is all that? And it's, you know, so they don't pull the parachutes anymore. They're on timers. Like that, to me, that's pathetic. It's unacceptable. But that's just me. That's my opinion. So I would never drive a car with that. Never. Just wouldn't. Because you're either driving it or you're riding in it. And I think now they're riding in it more than they're driving it. That's my opinion. And then when the thing smokes the tires, they have so much power they can't recover. And so that was part of the art of being a good driver is, you know, smoking the tires and still trying to win. And a good example is my last race in a funny car was Indy in 06. And in the semifinals, we're against Jim Head, and we both smoked the tires. I couldn't get ours to hook back up, you know, and I'm pulling the brake and pedaling it. And it just would not hook back up. And I drove it to the finish line smoking the tires. Head actually passed us and beat us to the stripe, but he hit the cone at the finish line. So we got to go into the final. But that's an example of that where, you know, the car's on the edge of control and you know, and I could drive it. But I think now they make so much power and they never hook back up. Do they? Did they hook back up? I don't think so. But I haven't watched a race on TV in a couple of years. So I might not know what I'm talking about, which some people would agree. They'd say, well, what else is new?
Wow. And there you have it. Whit Bazemore tells you exactly how he feels. Wow. So now I pose this. See, I had a question I was going to ask, but now it's just, I mean, we've made that left turn. So is there a class right now, you know, Drag Racing Central, one of our guys who watches all the time, he says, so pro mod or no prep kings? I mean, do you think those drivers have personality? Or they, you know, how do you feel about those guys? And
well, they probably do, but honestly, I don't follow them, so I don't know them. I mean, but yeah, like Scotty came from there and he had a ton of personality. Scotty was great for that kind of thing. So yeah, I bet they do. But you know, like I grew up loving funny cars and then top fuel cars, but fuel cars. And all I wanted to do was be a funny car driver. So pro mod is really interesting. I mean, it's I like those cars. I think they're awesome to watch. They are on the edge. they're probably what fuel cars used to be, actually. With a long time ago in the late '60s, with suspension and a lot too much power for the chassis, right? That's basically what they are, or it's what they were. And I don't know about now, and they are professional, but to me, they're not fuel cars. I mean, the fans at an NHRA national event, and look, I realize there's so many levels of drag racing, right, that are interesting. And but I've just never been one to follow all that. Like I haven't watched a NHRA a national event on TV. I shouldn't even say it, for a couple of years. And so they were going to hire, I talked to them about a job. And then when it didn't happen, I just kind of unplugged and moved on. So that's how it is. I text Caps every so often. Like, he finally won Indy, right? I thought he had won Indy before, but then he didn't. So, but he won it this year. It's great. And he's won 2 championships. So we're pals. When I go to a race, it's great to hang out with Caps and Forrest, two of my biggest rivals. But it's interesting because that's where the most respect is, right? Your biggest rivals are the people you actually respect the most, and vice versa. So it's cool.
Speaking of respect, for a long time, I didn't know that Whit Bazemore, this funny car driver that as a kid, I pulled for and thought was a cool dude, was a highly talented photographer. Did not know. Like, the sport really didn't do a good job of letting people know of like your path and your journey. And then you look back to something like Competition Plus and the article that came out, like, there are iconic drag racing shots that are your shots. So, one, do you feel like that gets left out of your story at times? And like, what are some personal favorite shots of yours that you have got from the past that are popular? Or maybe we don't know that you like, this is a shot that I really like, and describe it for us.
Yeah. To answer the first part of the question, honestly, I mean, okay, so at a national event, once I reach a certain level, then that part of the story wasn't told. But that, it didn't bother me because, like I said at the top of the show, I'm the kind of person, once I reach a certain level, I get bored and lose interest and move on. And that's how photography was for me. I never, it was just a means to an end, and it served its purpose. And I got, when I first started, I was horrendously bad. And then you work at it, and, when you're naturally competitive, which some people are and some people aren't, I happen to be sometimes, I think, too competitive. But if there is such a thing, I don't think there is, but a lot of people do. But early in my racing career, it was a story that, here's a photographer, and more than that, it's all the people I met and knew through my photography that paid dividends throughout my career. And even, like RJR, for example, that's the biggest example. But guys like John Asher took really good care of me in the media. Superstock Magazine, Steve Collison, before he passed away, took really good care of me. Later on, Cole Kuntz, who I didn't know when I was a photographer because he was a punk rock guitarist in LA. But for this band called Brain Dead Sound Machine, which is very cool. But they're on Spotify. But the photography, now I look back and I look at some of that stuff. And when I went through it, 10 or 12 years ago for Bobby Bennett, I went through all my stuff. I found myself wishing that I had more. and that I had taken it a little more seriously than I did, because I didn't take it very seriously at all. But now I do. And so my favorite drag racing shot is probably one they're not allowed to do today. And usually I did these 2 years in a row, or maybe it's only 1 year, but down not quite the half track at Indy. I had a 500 millimeter then, and so you're shooting the car at about 150 feet or 200 feet, maybe 300. I don't know how far down track, but pretty far. So the Christmas tree is obliterated by the heat waves, and so I have a couple shots. Superstock ran one of Poldy's car as a center spread, that shot, and that's one of my favorites. I also have a good one of Richard Tharp I think it's a Kilpatrick and Cannell top fuel car. So that's like 80, 85, 86, 85, somewhere, maybe 84. Those are probably my favorite shots because they're the hardest to get back then with a manual focus 500 millimeter. But today, my favorite shot is the cover of this book, MotoGP. So it's a coffee table book, and I just got it a week ago in the mail, and I like that. So I got the cover of that, which is a big deal for me. I like it. I don't have enough work in the book itself, which makes me, I should be happier probably than I am, but it's still cool. I like it. So it's good. And then the portrait stuff. I have a couple good portraits of the snake that I like. There are 2 or 3 of the snake that I really like, because he was a guy that I really admired. He was one of my heroes. I have a good portrait of Garlitz. I have a good one of Shirley. I like all those. So I wish I had more, but I've got a couple good ones of Bernstein. I've got some good portraits of a lot of the top racers back then, because I was able, I knew them all. So a good part of being a photographer is having access, and you've got to create the access, right? So I created access. I became friends with a lot of those guys, and I could waltz into any of their pits and photograph them any way I wanted to. So it was that part of it was fun.
Hey, congrats on the cover. That's cool, man.
Thank you. Yeah, I have to brag. It feels like winning Indy, honestly. It does. It's cool.
Where did you get it? I mean, I'm curious. What track? Coda or
yeah, this
cross?
is Coda. This is turn 20, the last turn, and it's in the middle of the day. And I've shot MotoGP. I shot Formula One in 2014 and 2015, and then I got hooked on MotoGP because it's more photogenic, and the riders, the racers are actually some of the best athletes in the world. I think Marc Marquez, 6-time MotoGP champion, I believe, in my opinion, that today he's probably the best all-round racer alive of any class. I mean, you have Lewis Hamilton, you have Verstappen, you have Johnny at 70. How old is Force? Is he 70 or 80? Do you know?
He's in there, that window.
He's in there. He's in that window. He's in the window like 78 to 82, right?
Right.
He'll kill me. But I'm no spring chicken anymore myself, right? So I can't say anything. But I did run. I ran 5.5 miles today, so that's good. That's how you stay young. But I think Marc Marquez is probably the best racer in the world. He's the Ayrton Senna of today's generation. So I really like MotoGP a lot. And as a photographer, it's extremely photogenic, because you're shooting the human, right? It's not just a machine. It's the human, and you can see them, and you can see how they do what they do to be quick and successful. So, and it's the most dangerous. So it's tense. It's exciting. It's, I'm into it. So that's my new passion.
So Whit, you talked about, how young you were when you started. Watched an interview on you saying that you were sitting in school and you said, "Hey, can I go to the library to make a phone call?" Like, I mean, most kids are, nowadays they're sitting texting on Snapchat and Visco and whatever, Instagram, Facebook, whatever app they're on. But you had to go to the library to make the phone call. I mean, for you in that moment, making that phone call at "Hey, teach, I need to go and handle some business." What was that moment like for you?
I mean, I remember that like yesterday, and it was nerve-wracking because I think I was 17, so I'm calling Jeff Bird, who ran Winston, the Winston drag racing program for RJR, and he had told me to call him sometime this winter. And so this was like early January, and I was a nervous wreck, because you're asking for something, and the answer is yes or no. And if it's no, it's deflating. And what are you going to do, right? So, but the actual, getting out of class, I mean, dude, my son is 17. I'm just happy when he's in class. He's been good this year, but last year, his first year with a car, school's like the world's different today. These kids can come and go out of school all day long. And I get these emails like, your son is absent from period 2, 3, 4, 5. It's like, dude, where were you? Right. And, but I didn't do that. I was a terrible student, but I went to school every day. So, but it was, it worked out. He hired me. So at the end of the day, that's all that mattered. That, and I got the job done for him, which was luck, because still so that's like 1981. I went to the Winter Nationals. I really didn't know what I was doing. I mean, I had an idea, but it was immensely challenging. So, but that's how life should be. You get challenged, you rise to the occasion and perform.
So you mentioned the passion here being MotoGP and shooting it. I wonder, what are some possible bucket list places to do photography, whether motorsports or not? Like myself, on the list, I'd love to shoot the Indy 500 and love to shoot the Isle of Man. Those are at the top. So what about yourself?
Yeah, the Isle of Man. You got it. I mean, if you want to photograph motorsports at the most extreme, it's the Isle of Man. And it's I want to that's on my bucket list. I want to do the Isle of Man. I like so when I was younger, a friend of mine got me a job, a shooting in Atlanta, and I don't know how old I was, 18 or 19. And we shot these, there was a designer there. He made dresses out of trash bags or something. So we had these two beautiful models in these trash bag dresses. And we went, and I found one of the most decrepit, rundown places in Atlanta. And we photographed these two beautiful women in this really heavily littered, I'm not going to call it a ghetto, but it actually was the side of the freeway near downtown Atlanta is where it was, but it was really decrepit. And and one of those images went into W magazine, which in the fashion industry is like the National Dragster or the Competition Plus these days of drag racing. And so I've always loved fashion photography too, and I've just never done much of it. But I'm starting to do a little bit more. I'm doing portraits more, and I photograph some homeless people. I do portraits of homeless people, or unsheltered is the PC term now. But that started out as shooting portraits of homeless veterans, because that's something that I have a lot of feeling for, and a lot of opinions about. It's just wrong. But then I realized that after doing several of those, a lot of homeless people who are mentally ill, and many of them are, they all told me they were veterans. And at some point I realized that, well, that person's not a veteran. I can tell, but they said they were. So it kind of morphed into more just all around homeless people that are not, there's several different types of homeless people. They're homeless by choice. And then there's homeless that are really sick and need help. And so I try to focus on the ones that need help. But that's morphed into some fashion stuff, because it's still shooting people's faces, right? It's shooting people. And so I've got my toe in the water for some of that, which I like. I'd like to do some musicians too. Like I'd love to photograph a concert, or get into that and see how that. I think you could get some great images, with the darkness and the lights and different, all the, there's a lot of emotion, right? And so but the Isle of Man would be awesome. That's on my bucket list for sure. There's some great images that come out of that place, and I'd like to get some myself. So
I think you will enjoy the concert. I got to shoot a concert this year, and I'm certainly not with Bazemore level, but it was at the Stampede of Speed. And yeah, like, the emotion of someone exerting to sing, and the lights in the background and smoke, and it was an interesting set of shots. I enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it'd be fun. There's one musician that I really want to photograph, but we'll see about that. I think I'll be able to. So yep, it'd be a lot of fun, and do some portrait stuff, and do kind of capture the lifestyle a little bit. And she's up and coming, so it'd be really fun.
So Whit, my final question, I think this one is a really good one, and you can see it in the comments. A lot of people are asking about, but the famous stare down
against Tony.
Yeah, the famous stare down there. Like you said, you're straightforward. You call it how you see it. Even tonight on this show, you tell it like it is. But in that moment, and with everything that was going on, how did Whit? We saw it through the stare. We can make our own assumption of what you felt, but what was that moment actually like?
I've got to remember. I remember it, and I've seen it on TV, of course, but I don't know. There's a better stare down later in life, after my divorce, when my ex-wife ended up calling the police, and then and the officer's on the phone, and he goes, so she was upset because you looked at her a certain way. And I was laughing at that point. I thought it was great. So the cop and I we're laughing, and I said, it seems like that's a pretty powerful thing to have, right? Like, if I can look at someone and scare them, maybe I should go get a job in Hollywood or something. I don't know. But, and then she took the kids to a hotel in the next town, which was only like 15 or 18 miles away. The kids are telling me, Dad, yeah, we went and stayed at a Super 8. And I'm like, why? Mom was scared, which is just bizarre. So anyway, back to Tony. We had, I don't know, he apologized later. So whatever it was, I think he accused me of hanging him out. And if I remember right, it was like 2 seconds, which, in all fairness to him, is kind of borderline, but it's not terrible. So he was just talking shit on TV and stuff. And, I don't like that. So I forget the whole thing. But wasn't he going to get in a fight with Force at Indy that time down there? Did they do?
There was that too. Yeah.
Yeah. To me, that's better. That's more exciting, But I was on constant probation, like my entire career. Graham Light just didn't like me, and none of them did. Like I went to Indy in 2012, and I'm up in the tower, and Tom Compton was there. Then he was still involved, and he's like, "Oh man, we miss you. We need you to come back. We miss your personality." And I told him, I said, "Dude, my personality cost me $30,000. So you give me my effing money back, and I'll think about coming back." But that personality, you guys are just talking out of both sides of your ass. You want the personality, but then when you get it, you got to find it. You got to find the guy for no reason. It's crazy. So that's something to sport. I think they really did a disservice to not only to me, but to the fans, because it's so clean, right? Like MotoGP isn't that way. MotoGP, dude, they say whatever they want, and they drop they drop F-bombs on the, it's an international feed, right? And every time, and they don't beep it out, but every time the guys in the booth, who I know because they're journalists, they're like, we apologize for that kind of language, but in the heat of the moment, it's normal, and it's a very emotional moment for so-and-so. And but not NHRA. They slap you with a $10,000 fine or 15 or whatever. And they made things up about me, which I to this day, if I let it bother me, it does, because it's just not right. There are rules for different people, and their job is to have a level playing field for everybody, and they failed, and that's on Graham Light. It's on Graham Light back then. So, I don't know how the guy sleeps at night, but I guess he doesn't have a problem. And he's very polite to me now when I go to the races. But Tom Compton said that we miss your personality. I'm like, dude, don't even talk that way. You owe me $30,000 because that's how much that personality cost. So that's how I feel about it. So, but Tony Pedregon, he's a great racer. He's a good guy. We have no problems. We laugh and joke and Cruz. Cruz and I were rivals, like all the rivals. I think once you leave, then you're all friends because at the end of the day, there is a mutual respect, right? And that's what comes up. And Force, I go see Force. He's the first place I go when I go to a race, which I haven't been to one since. Was it 2020 was the year of COVID, right? We were at the Winter Nationals before COVID hit, and then I was in Florida at Gainesville that day, when they shut everything down. So that was a Thursday, but yeah, good times though. All that stuff is what makes it fun, and those kinds of rivalries are it's what sport is, right? It's not a bad thing, and that was the problem I had. At the end of the day, I felt like NHRA thought it was bad. And it's not bad. It's normal. It's what sport is. You're competing, and it's dangerous. It's life or death, and people forget that. You get killed in these cars. You get killed. So you take it very seriously, and you do it for one reason, and that's to be successful and to win. And everybody's at that level. And so you're very intense. All the good people are at that level, very intense and very focused. And there's no room for bullshit. There's no time. You don't have the mental capacity for it because you're so focused on being perfect, and because that's what it takes. So I think someone like Graham Light, he was a former racer, and a lot of people have opinions about him. A lot of my peers, a lot of my older peers, and I'm not throwing the guy under the bus necessarily, but I don't think he did a very good job. I think he was wrong, and what he did to me, more than once, he was wrong, very wrong. So he's never apologized. So that rubs me the wrong way. I don't respect people that can't own their mistakes, and so that's how it is.
Well, Whit, look, thank you for coming on the show tonight. Thank you for your honesty.
We'll leave it on that note.
Yeah, leave it on that note. Well, yeah, which is a hallmark of yours. And yes, I do want to end on a positive note. Is there anywhere actually people can follow your work? Facebook,
yeah,
Instagram, anything?
Instagram. Facebook, I have a page. I have a Whit Bazemore page, and then I have a private page. But I went on Facebook about a month ago for the first time in like 2 years. I hadn't even been on it, and I'm not a fan of Facebook. And so but Instagram, it's just my name at Whit Bazemore, one word. It's down there on the picture. That's my Instagram, and it's a balance for me because it's about my photography, but every once in a while I'll put something more personal on it, and those are the most popular things. So there are a lot of racers or racing fans that follow it. So there's some racing fans that they don't like some of my photography necessarily that's not racing oriented, or it's MotoGP. It's not drag racing. I don't put up very much of my old stuff, but I think I might, because I have some of it scanned, and so I might start doing that because I think people would like to see the old stuff. But for me now, it's all about my photography. My racing career was yesterday. There are no old photos of me racing. I'm just not, I just don't care. It doesn't interest me. So it's only about my photography. So if you want to see my photography, you can follow me on Instagram at Whit Bazemore.
All right, there we have it.
Appreciate it. Yep.
Whit.
Thank you for telling the truth.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you. We need that voice in the wilderness, and apparently it's Oregon.
Yeah. Right. No, it's so you have snow in South Dakota right now?
North Dakota, yeah, we were getting some today. We're supposed to go through Arctic breeze or whatever they call it. At this point, anywhere from like September till April, it's gonna snow. So you just wake up and know it's gonna be cold.
Yeah. Do you have snowmobiles?
I used to ride snowmobiles actually in Wyoming until I had two friends go up and they got stuck in an avalanche. So yeah, after that I said, yeah, this isn't for me.
Yeah, yikes. No, that's sad.
And then my chiropractor broke his, femur in 1 year, and then broke his hip on the windshield driving in the ditches near our house, all within like literally 12 months apart. And I was like, yeah, no, this is not for me.
Yeah.
So.
No, they're no different than bikes, motorcycles. I mean, every scar I have is it's from a motorcycle. So all that funny car stuff, all those fires, all that crashing and whatnot, zero scars. But lots of scars, but zero are from the drag strip. But scars everywhere from motorcycles. Chest, back, legs, arms, both arms like that. There's some scars right there. You can't see them much. Yeah, but they're there. Anyway, but that's what killed Ken Black, right? He got killed he was on his sled.
Yeah.
So those things are fast.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I've got a buddy that's got a turbo one, and he's like, "Oh, you should come up to the mountain with me." It just no. I like snow. It's got to be hard and compact, like an ice rink.
Yeah. So I actually raced one once in '94 in Thief River Falls in Minnesota, and Arctic Cat invited me. Are we out of time?
No, you're good.
Okay, but it was super fun, and it was on a river. It's just the river because I forget why. It was going to be more like a motocross thing, which I was more concerned about. But as it was, I think I was second to last in time. So, but for the first time, I mean, because, like I didn't know the river, so the course, and I'm one of those people, like once I know that, it's slow. But once I get to a point, then I can be quick. Or back then, like now at my age, I don't know. But back then, so it was all new. But it was fast. I mean, the thing went like 120, 130, something like that. And you had to be fit because it sticks to ice, right? Like it's ice, and you're
on it.
Yeah, I mean, you're not sliding around much. You're glued. So it was fast. It was fun, but I can see how they're a handful and can be dangerous, especially out in the wild. I mean, we have a big scene here. I don't snowmobile, but I do ski, and my son skis, and he actually cracked three vertebrae just the other day, two days ago. So in the hospital. So we're really lucky. It was kind of tense, but he's my son. I can't be too surprised, right? So I'm trying to. He's actually really talented, but I've taught him. I've taught him very carefully. Like, you have an envelope of talent, and it's going to grow, but stay in your envelope. And he did. It was a freak thing skiing. He got air, but anyway, it's a boring story. But yeah, it's life. Life is fragile, right? And we in racing know that more than anyone else.
So. Well, prayers to you and your family, and speedy recovery for your son. But yeah, I'm actually headed. Yeah, I'm headed to Thief River in like 4 weeks to go and ref some junior hockey. So,
oh, cool!
I'll be out there.
Cool.
Yeah,
it was cold.
It's always cold here.
It was cold, yeah. Well, it's cold here, but yeah, but the Midwest cold is colder than the Bend, Oregon cold.
Yeah, we have it's the winds, especially in Minnesota.
I mean, like today, I went for a run and the sun's out, and it was like in the low 40s. But because the sun is out, it's warm. I ran in shorts and just a base layer. Is awesome. And then I Nordic ski. I'm Nordic skiing this year a lot, not up on the mountain, and it can be 5, whatever it is, and you're cold for like the first 15 minutes, and then you're working so hard, you warm right up, and it's like 5 degrees, which growing up in Atlanta, right? Like if you told me back then, you're going to be Nordic skiing, you'll be outside for 3 hours in 5-degree weather, I'd have thought, no, there's no way. If it's 5 degrees, I'm not even going to go there, right? So
I remember 12 years ago when I got up here from California, I was like, what in the world am I doing here?
What did I do? Dude, that's how I felt in Indianapolis. Indianapolis. That's like the coldest I've ever been. Because the flag, I was at the grocery store, going to the grocery store at 9 o'clock one night. I'd lived there like for 3 weeks. And the flag is just straight out, right? The wind, it was only 30. But my God, it was like, okay, I don't like this place at all. I'm not going to live here for very long.
Yeah.
10 years later, and then I moved someplace colder.
Yeah, it's wild what the wind will do factoring into the temperature. I lived outside of Rochester, New York for about 6 years, and
There you go.
I can remember a day, no wind, sunny, 15 below zero, and you were fine because there was no wind. But you have wind involved, and you're technically above zero, and it feels worse. It's amazing.
Yeah. You want to know what wind does? Next time a funny car is on fire, just watch that, because that's like a 200 mile an hour wind in a forest fire, right? It's like when there's a when there's a forest fire these days, and there's a 15 or 20 mile an hour wind, it's a big deal. I mean, it's a big deal, and it really changes the dynamic of the forest fire. And if it's a 50 mile an hour wind, it's a tragedy, right? Like that's what happened in Santa Rosa a while back. But then, like I always look at that, and then I think about, a 250 mile an hour wind in a fire. That's the power of wind right there. Wind is very, very, very powerful.
For sure.
So
for sure.
Yep. All right, guys. Well, thanks for having me on.
Whit, thank you.
Thank you.
We'll have to have you, we'll have to give it a little bit of time, but we'll have to have you again. There's a lot more to dive in with Whit Bazemore and for him to say. So come on back sometime.
We'll do it. We'll be better prepped. I thought I had 10 minutes. I was getting everything going, and then I had to download Google Chrome. My internet connection, because I live in Timbuktu, is not the best, but it worked, I guess, right? We're on?
We're on. We were live and got through it. So thank you, man.
Cool. And where can people watch this?
On Competition Plus, Facebook, Twitter, and the YouTube channel.
Okay, the YouTube channel. All right. Mm-hmm. Cool.
Thank you, Whit.
Enjoyed it. Yep. Thank you, guys. See ya.
Thank you. Tells it like it is.
I mean,
Lee, everything he said is what we've been saying. We need more personality. We need this. We need this. And he comes on here and he's like, look, I don't watch it. I don't care. This is what you need. Boom. Bang.
Yeah.
And I'm out.
And look, you have to agree with Whit in that, and I find it fascinating. We deal with it here on this show at times. Someone will do something. They show that personality, and the very next show, people are like, "Why'd they do that? He shouldn't have done that." Oh, people are like, "Oh, Bobby Bodie shouldn't have thrown his helmet, shouldn't have thrown his gloves, things of that nature." It's like you want personality. You say that's what you want, then why are you upset when you get it?
Because it's because of jealousy. Two, it's because they didn't like. I mean, dude, everyone says, well, if I was in that situation, I wouldn't act that way. Okay, next time the guy that's at Starbucks, because most of you guys, I mean, I'm gonna just take a guess. Most of you guys go to Starbucks or your favorite coffee joint. Next time that person in front of you is taking forever to order, and you're like, what's taking you so long? The apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Or when the person in front of you is talking on their cell phone or texting and the light's green and you're sitting there honking and cussing them out. Like, everyone reacts to something in a way. And I'm sorry, but God darn it, I'd throw a fit for less when I order a bacon cheeseburger with no tomatoes and no lettuce and no mayo, and I open my burger and it's got tomato, lettuce, and mayo on it. Driving a 200 mile an hour race car and it catches on fire or explodes in front of you, I'm gonna show a little reaction. So you say, oh, I wouldn't do that and that's unprofessional. Well, you do it every day, or you yell at somebody at your job every day because they're not doing it the way you want it to be done. Compare apples to oranges, but you're not in that spot. So, hey, get over it.
Right. So,
and now I'm putting the soapbox away.
One of the hallmarks of Whit Bazemore over his life and being in the public view is he's going to share exactly what he thinks, and he did that once again, and it was, in my opinion, refreshing. And also, what an interesting juxtaposition we had tonight, Sam. We had John Force, an individual that is sold out to drag racing, almost lives for drag racing. I mean, maybe it's fair to say does live for drag racing. And then
Is
someone
embedded
like
in drag racing.
right, and then you got someone like Whit and has literally said, I got to the top and that was good and I'm cool and I'm moving on to something else. It's fascinating juxtaposition of two human beings that in their time on this terrestrial ball that we're floating in nothingness came across each other's paths, had
Hold on, wait a
respect for
minute.
one another.
Wait
And
a minute. Did you
What?
just throw that in there? Did you just
What?
throw that in there?
what?
In this ball floating on nothingness. I like that.
Yes.
I'm giving you your props. I like it.
Okay.
Now you're gonna have see what you're doing this. Now someone's gonna comment, we're not floating on nothingness and we're not a ball, the earth is flat.
Right, you're right. Or, technically it would be a pear-shaped spherical object floating in dark matter, whatever that quantumly is defined as. So, yeah, there we go. Anyway, I don't know. I feel like a fascinating discussion of you got John and where he's at, you got Whit and where he is at, and John, to me, he's as energetic today as he ever has been, if not more, and Whit is passionate as he ever was at any other time, but doing what he is now. Because, man, to make the cover and it's your photo of MotoGP. I mean, look, MotoGP is the top form of motorcycle racing out there in the world. There's nothing higher. And, I mean, that's something to be proud of, making the cover for anything, but especially something involving MotoGP.
Oh yeah. I mean, and it just shows, like you said, I mean, going from one to another, and just, realizing that, hey, I've reached this, but this isn't, I don't want to be stagnant. I want to try something else. I want to do something else. I mean, you can't be mad at a person for doing that at all. And he's very happy. He seems very happy and content at where he's at and what he's doing, and having fun doing it. So,
right.
I mean, just like you said, I mean, the difference is in the water, and that's the beauty of what we live, where we live, and how we go about every day is, you can have difference in opinions and still be right, still live your own life.
Completely agree. Sam, I also had fun doing the show with you. Take care, man, and have a good night.
Oh, thanks, Lee. I appreciate you. Yeah. Are we going to have a disagreement?
No, because I'm checking out. You close the show.
Well, everybody, that was Lee, the Monday Morning Racer. I think he's tired and groggy and he's ready for bed. And yeah, I mean, what a great show having Bobby Bennett come on with the Insider, having Lee royally ruining into my secret publicly, but it's all right. I still respect you and love you for that. Come on, dude, take that down. Like, I thought you were leaving the show. See, this is the behavior from the Monday Morning Racer that we have to see. But anyway, I am Slam and Sam. Check this out on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram, or wherever else you may do. On behalf of Competition Plus, thank you to Whit, Bazemore, and John Force for coming on to the show, yakking it up about the goods, the bads, the ugly, and everything in between about drag racing. To you guys, the fans, and the people that support us, Weldon, Holly, Peak, we cannot do this without you guys. So thank you. God bless you guys. Stay safe. Till next Tuesday, keep the pedal to the metal. Peace.